put yourself down. That is our topic for today on our new show. April is excited about about the topic, and so am I. So here's what I want to ask you. When you're alone, walking down the street, you see couples, you ask yourself, why me? Why am I alone? You ever felt like that?
I have
April?
multiple times. Yes, I have. And you're talking to yourself, but you're really talking to God. And I look at the people that are homeless and I see them talking to themselves and I say, you know what? And God came to me about that and He said, those people are not talking to themselves all the time. They're talking to me. And they're talking out loud.
Mm.
They're not all homeless people are, and they're homeless for, they made bad choices. They can be homeless. It's a number of reasons. They didn't want to take responsibilities, but all of that, I said that is say in terms of they're talking to God. So when I find myself alone and talking to myself, I would think of a homeless person. So I don't, not that I would like to be homeless, but it's just when I remember riding down the street and I see them, I say, you know what? They're talking to God. They're talking to God. So yes, when I'm alone, those are one of the things that I do.
When you're in a relationship, when you've seen relationships and you don't have any, okay, do you try to find a reason why you're not? Do you blame yourself, or do you blame others, or is there any thought of reasoning for blaming?
I do. I blame myself because I feel like if I would have walked away, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here alone. Or if they would have done right by me, then I wouldn't be sitting here alone. So those are the two factors that I do come across from time to time when being single. But I mean, and then I often say, well, I wonder what they're thinking about. I wonder what they're thinking about me. So those are some things that when you're alone, that crosses your mind.
Well, when you think like that, do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's going to help out in any kind of way?
It's not, because as I've read books and look at many affirmation, it's mental. So when I see the word mental, I'm like, oh my God, and wheel myself back in. I can't let this overtake me. So when I see the word mental, it gives me like a reality check.
Okay. So with that, do you think that you can find a solution to your singleness of not being wanting to be single?
Yes, now that makes me want to get out more and kind of like participate in different volunteer services like I did when I met someone. And it makes me get out more. That takes my mind. If I'm busy, that takes my mind off my loneliness. That takes my mind off of I'm single. That single to me, it's not a bad thing. It depends. But in my case, it was bad because I felt bad. If I'm being single and it doesn't make me feel good, then the opposite of not feeling good is feeling bad.
Okay, so that blame thing really isn't healthy, in what you're basically saying. Dr. April, I've been into that blame game, blaming myself. I went through all the different things of why I'm single, uh, the trauma of past relationships, and I came to the conclusion, and the same way you, I said, you know what, just get out and just, and I'm not saying go to a club or a bar, just get out and enjoy the people. God has His way. He's a guiding light,
Right,
but you have to believe in the light.
right,
And when we talked the other day, You were going to go to Texas. I was going to go to Texas. And the guy you like said, no, you don't have to go to Texas. Don't go to Texas. What about that? This is interesting right now. I'm really going to do, I'm not going to follow. See, and that was God talking. Right back to blaming others. Why am I here?
So, it's always the least likely person. Like God uses the least likely people to take his word forward, or he uses the least likely people. Like, for example, Moses. He was least likely among his own people, which were Pharaoh, which was adopted into their family. He was least likely because he came from a Hebrew mother. So with that being said, God used him. He felt like he could be used because he was talented. But God used him. So I said all of that, what that refers to with our story, our situation of being singles, or why me, is when you say why me, why not you? So God is using our singleness, our past trauma, to come together and put the show together to help others that either they're going through or been through and haven't coming out of their situation yet, versus we came out because we had each other to hold hand. We had each other to talk to. We had each other to talk about our past trauma. You shared your trauma. I've shared my trauma. You told me your stories. I've told you my stories. We share laughter. We share sad time. And that's something you don't find every day in a relationship. Because normally, if you've been by yourself so much or you've been alone, you don't want to tell the new person what you've been through because you don't want them to think anything bad of you.
Exactly. But what you really should have, and one thing that we both established with each other, was the openness. I'm telling you my past. It's really, won't be judged is I'm confessing my sins.
Absolutely.
When your spirit of discernment kicks in, you'll and
it would help me understand you and get to know you better, and it would help me to be cautious with your heart, to be cautious with your feelings. It would say, okay, now this happened in the past with him, so don't go down that road with him.
Right. That's, that right there can be a topic for another day. But let me just elaborate on it a little bit. Because what happens is you had a life before you met them.
Absolutely.
You have to respect that both ways. And a lot of times, we talked about this earlier, that some people, they will want to take over another person's life. Find out the essence of that person. And if that essence is your essence and it comes together, it binds together, then yes, you can be together. But don't jump into that and not know that other person's essence. And then 2 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, 5 years, 15 years down the road, it's no longer there anymore. The Lord is permanent. And marriage is permanent. I'm not there, I'll give it say supposed to be. No. There is no supposed to be. It's permanent.
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I felt like I should be married forever. When those words say death do us part, and when those words say let no man put us under, I believe I stood by those. I live by those words. And I just told God, I said, the next time I get married, I am going to speak to those words, to those vows. They mean something. They mean something. So I can relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's the Lord is permanent. He's permanent.
Absolutely.
Every word, okay, that's in the tools of the word, which is the Bible,
Mhm.
is permanent. And with that being said, we want to thank you for listening to us, and we hope that it helped you because it's helping us. This is our third.
Yeah. Yes. So, one more thing. We gotta when your spirit discernment kicks in and you'll find happiness. You'll have You didn't want to say that because that's our final, and I know. I know you just hate to go back over our meeting and our discernment when we saw each other. And yes, but I'll start it. So when your spirit of discernment kicks in and you'll find your happiness. I am very excited and happy because my discernment didn't kick in at first. I was just so busy, a busybody in making sure we have enough hot dogs, we have enough hamburgers, we have some nachos. Oh, someone is calling for an order. Till my discernment didn't kick in right away. It was like I'm doing a service. I'm a servant right now.
Yes.
Everything else is blocked off. Love. I hadn't thought about love. I'm just out here working.
Yes. Yes.
So with that being said, when everything calmed down and the game was over, notice I said game. The game was over for playing. The game was over for throwing balls, throwing curveballs. The game was over for running a yard.
Mm.
So with that being said, now I'm like, and you're like, So the spirit of discernment kicked in. And we were curious about, okay, she seems nice. And I'm like, this seems like a nice guy. He was very polite in helping me. So when you asked for my number, and I said, I'm going to give it to you. So when I left, I said, when is he going to call? So I wasn't going to make the first call.
Well,
It's a woman thing. I'm sorry.
it is, and I understand that. And a man really, if he's seasoned and he's wise, he understands. Even as a young man, he knows to call first. It's a gentleman thing. But I appreciate every moment.
Oh,
Every moment from the time I walked when I was called to do that to you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I really, really did. And to this moment, that's a moment that I'll never forget because happiness in life is many, many moments. And, success of happiness and love, it's not a destination, it's a journey. It's a continuance of different places, things, and times and space. And that's what I'm learning.
And it's permanent.
Yes, it's permanent. It's permanent. It's permanent.
So with that being said, you'll find happiness. I know I found happiness.
Yeah, I know I found happiness because like I said, once it's there, it's permanent. The Lord is permanent.
Yes.
He's permanent. And like I said, a seasoned person, you should know.
So that's the conclusion of our. I'm took my breath away. So we talked about if God lift you up, why you put yourself down. We talked about why me. We talked about blaming others, and we just finished talking about your spirit of discernment kicks in, and you'll find your happiness. So I really enjoy it.
Yes, so do I. So do I. And I learned more
Yes.
about myself. I learned more about you in this little segment. With that said, thank you.
Thank you.
Cut.